What's up, everybody? Aftermath Digital. We've had our good news with our wins, and now it's time for the bad news. And we're going to start with Jimmy. Jimmy, your fail.
My fail. Well, I'm kind of looking forward to this draft that's coming up, but at the same time, why do we need a draft when guys are already kind of appearing on other shows? I mean, last Friday we had Kevin Owens do the Kevin Owens show on SmackDown. He's a Raw superstar confronting, and then this past Monday, Braun Strowman, is he not a SmackDown superstar, shows up to challenge anybody to a fight on Raw and ends up getting an unsanctioned match against Keith Lee. And so why do we need a draft if guys are going to, kind of intersect brands anyways? I would have rather that guys stay brand specific and just keep it that way and just focus on building stories and rivalries within the brand instead of trying to cross promote. If that's maybe they're planting seeds for the draft, I don't know, but at the same time,
yeah, it's only special when someone. So, for example, if you haven't seen Braun Strowman on Raw for X amount of months, and all of a sudden he's here, what's he doing here? It's Braun Strowman. It means something. But even though there are different brands, a lot of people watch both shows, so it's not like they're not seeing them. They're just not seeing them on that show, but they still see them every week. So it's a strange situation.
It's really weird because it feels like I'm told the same thing every time the draft happens. It'll be exclusive, Raw and SmackDown only. And then 3 weeks later, it's like, it'll be a special Raw SmackDown reunion show. And they're like, oh, I thought we were done with that, though. And then, of course, you get Survivor Series. It's the only time of the year when Raw and SmackDown will go against each other. And then 2 weeks later, you have Braun Strowman again looking for a fight on Raw. It does seem, Jimmy, you're right. Like, why everything's intersecting. We don't necessarily need the draft, but maybe, hey, maybe the sun will shine this time and they won't intersect finally.
Well, and that's just it. Like, whenever the draft happens, and my fail relates to this, whenever the draft happens, everything kind of gets put on hold. There's no new stories. There's no new anything. There's no new rivalries. And then even after the draft, there's always like a couple of cleanup weeks where we have a rivalry, but one of us went to another show, but we gotta settle this thing at this event, and then we won't fight each other anymore and move on. I need some more variety in my matches. I can't keep seeing the Hurt Business always fight Ricochet and Apollo. I can't keep seeing, as entertaining as it is, there's got to be other challengers for the heavyweight championship. There's got to be other people who are deserving of a title shot against Drew McIntyre. There's got to be other tag teams out there somewhere. It's not like they're on Raw, but I mean, there are other tag teams in the world that could be on Raw fighting the Street Profits. There's no variety, and now the draft is just making sure there's spinning wheels all over the place until everything settles from the draft in a month. Like, who knows? I just want some new stuff.
Spin the wheel, make a deal. Who will end up on Raw? Who will end up on SmackDown? I don't know. We'll get a variety show. And
Give me that wheel every week. Give me that wheel every week, just so I can put everybody's names in a bag. Let's do it. What is it? The Crockett Cup every week.
maybe we could do it like Press Your Luck. No whammy, stop. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. We could do that. We could do that and say no ninjas. Stop. Moving on. Kevin, your fail coming up just from last night's Raw.
That's right. My fail is the Seth Rollins and Murphy split, and not necessarily the fact that they split. And okay, let me try and break this down. So I get it. Murphy is sick of Seth's shtick. He's sick of how stuck up Rollins is. So this all makes sense that we would eventually get here, that Murphy wants to eventually extricate himself from this whole Messiah prophet thing that we have going on. Now, this will lead to a pretty sweet match. I can guarantee you that. Murphy, Rollins, two of the best in the ring that Raw or WWE certainly has right now. But isn't the whole love angle a little overplayed here? I mean, I like her. You're mean to her. Let's fight. Okay, come on. It's tired, old way to arrive at a rivalry, in my opinion. Now, of course, we have this whole damsel in distress thing. We'll have that eventually, and Murphy's going to have to rescue Aaliyah. It doesn't seem like I don't need that aspect of this storyline to get that kind of split. I think that the Rollins-Murphy split makes sense, just being the fact that Seth is a stupid jerk who's stuck up and full of himself. I don't think that we needed to inject Aaliyah into this personally.
Yeah, I'm wondering if they want to get her involved because she's a pretty good character. The subtleties. I know growing up she was doing some acting and stuff like that. So she has some formal training with regards to reactions and on-screen presence. I think, yeah, I'm more excited to see her than Dominic right now, just because she's a little better on camera. Yeah, it's a little West Side Story-ish, right? The Sharks and the Jets, and then Maria, and yeah, there's something going on there.
Yeah, to your point, like I definitely don't. I like Aaliyah. You know, she's cool, and you're right. I think that she's better than Dominic, certainly on screen. It's just I didn't necessarily need the whole love angle of I like her, you don't like her, you're mean to her, let's fight because of it.
I'd love to elaborate on this, but I can't beat that West Side Story. When you're a jet, you're a jet.
Hey, all of that based on Romeo and Juliet. And I'll say this, it's very much Romeo and Juliet, because in Romeo and Juliet, Juliet was also super young and Romeo was much older, which made it even creepier. Let's move on. Anthony, your fail. We have a missed opportunity on Raw.
Yeah, so of course, I'm a big fan of everything The Hurt Business. I think I almost ordered a shirt.
Anthony, a pro tip, you might know somebody who could just get you a shirt.
Yeah, but I like to support local, small business. And there was that little thing backstage where he offered them like a one night to be a part of the Hurt Business, and they walked away, and then Ricochet made that look like I might take him up on this, or I might, and then, oh man, I'm like, ooh, Ricochet's gonna become a bad guy. And how cool would it be if he became a bad guy and the Hurt Business continued to grow and we saw a different side of him? I think it could be an awesome side of him. And then all of a sudden on the way to the ring, he stopped and looked back like, I have to tell you guys. And I'm like, man, he's gonna join their team so fast. And all of a sudden he was like, pass. And I'm like, what? Like, it's hard to get me excited about something. And they got me excited because it's the soap opera stuff that I like. I don't care so much about headlocks and tackle drop down, get it again. But it's the storylines. And this was a storyline that I could sink my teeth into. And they just dangled it for like a second and then took it away from me. Hopefully they go back to it. Hopefully they can measure the responses of when he did that, and people and what they thought, and maybe they want to see it, and they can, and maybe he said pass right now, but he was actually thinking about it and said pass at the last second, but he's going to continue thinking about it. I don't know, but I hope they can do something with it.
That's one of the things that's hard now. Like we talk about not having a live audience there to get that instant feedback and reaction. And that's what tells you whether something is resonating or not. Yes, you see the online presence and people make comments and blah, blah, blah. But it's that live instant feedback is really the telling factor, in my opinion.
Yeah, the Hurt Business is kind of straddling the fence a little bit with regards to good guy, bad guy, because he seemed a little bit benevolent, like, we're going to give you an opportunity and you can join our side. And obviously they're in the Hurt Business, so at the end of the day, it's kind of a bad thing. Excuse me. But I look forward to it probably the most, in terms of storylines.
I like the Hurt Business. I like their black and gold look. I think they look great. And weirdly, they're supposed to be the bad people, and I look forward to them being on television all the time. I think that missed opportunity with Ricochet might have just been a fake out for the whole Ali thing, which we'll get into talking about in our next segment, because we have a leader possibly revealed for Retribution, which we will talk about in our next segment. For Kevin, James, and Anthony, I'm Nug. We'll see you then. Now, if you click to that video right now, but then.